Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go. So Mark, let's go. Right, so that's 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks of bump to the plus. Okay. I'm trying to stand the other way here. So it'll always check its gas pressure every time. I've purposely got the temperature set quite low because normally it takes 4 or 5 minutes for it to warm up, so otherwise it would take forever. Right.
So this adjustment's real.
So that was
Not like my shock.
3 clicks.
Yeah, you'll be fixed it.
3 clicks, and we're talking about 40 kilograms of difference.
How much difference will that make to from a driving perspective, John? I mean, what does that
That's
number mean? It's impressive on a screen, but what does that actually mean?
That's a good question. that is the black part of shock absorbers. It's a bit like, I suppose it's a bit like saying, well, what's the difference between this transistor and another transistor? You know, I mean, it just does a different job. So the trick is to understand what it does when you change it in the car, and that's the hard part.
And I guess the point is, you're looking at this, saying it's done in 3 clicks. I'm seeing this. The next time you'll have this as a reference point in this temperature,
That's right.
and it's performing the same way.
Yep.
Do they come with these curves from the manufacturer to say this is what it should look like in this ambient temperature?
If you were speccing a shock, if you went to Coney and said, I've got a Mygal, it's got this amount of spring in it, and we're running it on this tyre, blah 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 blah, they would valve it to what they believe is correct after they've done all the testing and all that stuff. I mean, it's like being at a different power. You know, I mean, it's the reason why 888's shock absorber engineers earn $300,000 a year. You know, that's the reason, because it's a very black art, and trying to understand it is not easy.
So the point of showing us this today is to say
The main point is the first one is to make sure that the shocks are actually working properly.
so if you click it up, you are going to see a difference, whatever that difference means.
No, to make sure that they're a pair,
Yep.
and that when you change it, it changes just one thing. See, this has changed the rebound, but it hasn't changed the bump. Okay? There are a lot of shock absorbers, when you change the rebound, you get a 20% change in the bump at the same time. And sometimes when you increase the bump, or say you increase the rebound, it ends up reducing the bump, and vice versa. So the lesser shocks, this is where the money comes into it, the lesser shocks have what they call crosstalk in them, generally. Most road car shocks have crosstalk, for example. If you have a road car that's got adjustable shock, it's normally only got one knob. So you'll go up with a bump, and it might take the rebound up at the same time at a certain ratio, but it may not do. And that's sort of what I'm saying, is that they're not as simple as what, they're not all the same.
So there's two tiers or types of testing you do. The basic testing, it's a pair. They seem to be working.
It's a functionality test
Yeah.
to make sure that they're actually working. As I said before, with the 5000s, we regularly put those 5000 shocks on every meeting or two, check that they're okay, send them away to Coney, have them rebuilt if they're playing up, bring them back, put them on the shock dyno, and then take them off and send them back to Coney and say, fix them properly this time. And it happens all the time, because Coney and Auckland are not very good.
This is going on YouTube, yeah.
That's fine. They know. I mean, that's why we've got a $40,000 machine to check them. You know, that's the reason.
But this is, as you say, this is a basic check rather than looking at all the other things as
Yeah.
well. With
I mean, if I needed or had the ability even to explain to you the black art, we'd be here for a month of Sundays, and I don't profess to be an expert at it. To be, you know, I mean, I know that when I do this on a shock and I'm running a car and I want it to do this and I want it to do that, I can make those adjustments. I know that, but the intricacies of changing it inside the shock, I'm no expert at. I mean,
so in a campaign run by a father with his son 3 or 4 years ago, shocks off to 888 to go and get the black art done.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's where you spend the money.
It's money. It's money. And
Yeah.
it's just for money.
So why do the cars run Coney shocks if they're no good? Do they have
No,
to?
no, I'm talking. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, they were the shock of the spec because it's
okay.
historic racing. You can't
I
change
see.
it. So
Oh, right.
that's just the reason. Yeah. So I mean, just to move on, we'll make a change. We'll make sure I don't break the little drill off here. Well, that's 2 on the rebound. So we'll make 2 changes actually. We'll change this one this time. So that's another 1, 2. Yeah, so that's pretty much maxed out on the bump. And let's just see what happens now.
So, say if you're checking just most shock absorbers, do they come and okay? So you wind them fully in or out,
Yep.
and start at 0.
Yep.
Do they go 1, 2, 3, and are they both the same?
You mean they're proportional?
If you've got 2 shocks and they're supposed to be valved correctly, they should all be the same as they go up. They quite often are.
Yeah, but so generally you find that they're not.
We generally find that there's a little bit of change. Sometimes it's not much. It might be just
Would
a
it be
little
one
bit.
clip?
Pardon?
One clip generally to
1 to 2. 1 to 2. Depends on the shock of it. Okay, so you can see now we've changed the rebound a bit and we've changed thing. But interestingly enough, look at the shape change.
It is, yeah,
And that's the
completely.
point that I was trying to make. When you go stiffer with it, it doesn't just make it stiffer. Because of the dynamics of what's going on in the shock, it's changed the shape of it, or what we call the knee. So it ramps up at a different rate. So if you were looking at this as a graph and you compared this point down here against that point and looked at it as a ratio compared to that one, the ratio would be completely different. And that's a big problem because you might be roaring around going, oh, shit, that little bit of extra rebound really worked good. So you go 1 more click,
Goes
and then
down, then
right
goes
where
in.
you want it to work a bit more, it's overdone. But it's overdone here, but it's okay here. And that's what I'm trying to get to, is that when you go twiddle, 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 unless you know it's working properly, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, and you're probably better just to leave it alone. And what tends to happen is, as I said right at the very beginning, our brains say, we're quite clever, let's have a play. But normally what happens is we have a bit of a play and we actually shoot ourselves in the foot while we're doing it. So that's my take on those adjustments.
What, in your experience, for drivers of, I won't say all of our ability, but certainly potentially my ability, which is a little less, will make the bigger difference from a setup perspective? Where do you tend to find the most of the time, apart from the muppet behind the wheel? I'm talking setup
Now
time.
you've taken the big thing out.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand that.
I'd have to say track time is probably it. So it's not actually the car. I mean,
You can drive around a lot of setup issues.
yeah, I mean, I've always said for years that a good driver can drive a wheelbarrow quite quickly, right? But a bad driver can't. A bad driver can drive a good car quite well, but it doesn't matter how good you are. If you've got a wheelbarrow, it's not going to work. 'Cause a good driver's only going to get it so far. So you need a good car that's working properly, even if it's got its odd little fault. Then you learn how to manage that fault or improve it, and as I said earlier as well, work on the weaknesses. Don't try and capitalise on your strengths, because the time's going to come from improving the weaknesses, not from improving the strengths. I mean, this is just an illustration and this has actually worked out really quite well, to show you that all is not what it seems when it comes to adjusting shock absorbers. Because unless you know what's going on, you don't know, and you're in the dark. And that's the reason why if I had a young guy that we were running, and we had the option to put a set of Bilsteins on the car, and we've done this many times. We did it with Kurt Peterson when he was running the championship. We couldn't get the feedback out of him, and we had shocks just like this. Couldn't get the feedback out of him, kept changing things. He didn't know whether it was better or worse. I mean, there's no criticism of him, he's a good driver. But he couldn't diagnose what was going on. We just took him off, put him in a box, put some Bilsteins on it, he was gone. Because there were no decisions to make. What he had was what he had. And
American guys are the same, when they bought those fancy shocks
yeah,
out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, $20,000 worth of shocks, pop them on, second and a half slower, tweak, 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 tweak for 3 days, still no better. Throw them in the bin, put some billies on it, gone. It's just the way it is.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, $25,000 at Triple Eight, sure, they'll be good. But I almost guarantee that when you go twiddling with the knobs, they don't work. Because they don't want you to buggerise around with them, because you don't know what you're doing, more than likely. And shock guys do that. They set them up so that there might be a little change, so it feels right, feels okay, but not big changes like this. You know? I mean, that's probably reasonable business, because you don't want everybody you sold at the shop to ring up and say, these are a piece of crap. Well, where have you got them adjusted? Oh, I don't know. So I mean, they're just things to try and keep life simple, you know. But I think that's a reasonable demonstration of a shock, which that's one click. Yeah.
Is that just because also probably because you're getting right to the edge?
That might be. I'll back one of them right back and see if I can.
So where's the line to say which is the right way?
Oh, very good question.
25 grand.
Well, the bigger question is, are you a big and good enough driver to be able to tell the difference?
Well, I mean, look,
not a personal indictment.
No,
I know I wouldn't be.
No, we know that he's not.
I mean, the Atlantic Card guy, the only way to know is what my shocks are, to turn and throw them all on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
I'm not. I mean, the reason for all this is not us touting for the business. It's just
No,
to try
but I don't know
and,
all that.
and
Yeah.
show you guys that all is not what it seems sometimes. And having been in the business a long time, we've been through it time and time and time again. Right, so what did that tell you?
Come back to us, heavy base.
Yeah, but I went from 3 off full hard to full hard.
Yeah.
So this one, the blue line was the one we did here.
That was the
The
first test.
The first test we did here.
Yeah.
The two that you can't quite see, which I could blank out, but the two that you can't quite see, the other ones I did before you turned up, both on the same setting. This one was the one we did when we wound it all the way to the top, 3 away from full. This one here was full, and now the black line is back to nothing, back to 0.
It's not anywhere close to proportional, is it?
So from 0 to 7 clicks, there's no change. Interesting, eh?
0 to 7 clicks, no change.
But the oil's warmed up.
Well, no, because between that line there, that black line, and the two that are underneath it, and that one, there's almost no difference, right? But I pulled that back. I pulled that back from 7 back to 0, and it's gone from there back to there. So it's a long 3 clicks is a long way from there to there, but 7 clicks is bugger all from there to there. do it all in the last three or four clicks, yeah. Which is not uncommon.
So a long way from proportional. So one is not the same as
That's the point I'm trying to make.
6 to 7,
Just because it's 6 to 7, it's not. I mean,
not the same as
so-
1 to
so
2.
0 to 2.5 or 0 to 3 is not 25% of 0 to 5 or 0 to 75.
It's almost like a
Of
log.
third.
Yeah, it's not even a logarithmic scale. It's just
No.
all over the place.
Yeah, well, it has a potential to be all over the place, yeah. But, I mean, we're talking about a mechanical thing with oil flowing up and down in it and little flapper valves and things. I mean, we've got a set of shocks here, and they ran in the championship 2 years ago quite successfully, and that's one of the shocks, but it's the first time we've checked it today. Been sitting here for a week or two to be checked. So what the other ones are like, I don't know. We haven't checked. Might be perfectly good. This could be the best one, I don't know. Could be the worst one. But I think we've probably demonstrated that there's certainly some vagrancies in what you think you're doing and what perhaps is actually fact.
I saw a Derek Wilson folder on there.
Saw some.
Did you see a difference? I noticed a difference. So with your shocks, Derek, as well.
See this was. See the difference in shape over here and there?
The Derek Wilson
That's
folder
three
on
clicks.
here.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
There.
Looks like you checked your shocks. Were they even?
We just
So
checked
the
to see if
black
they were
line
working the same.
is
And were they?
0, and
No.
the 3 underneath it are 7.
So they went up to Christ to Albany.
And got
Twice.
adjusted twice to get adjusted. Yeah.
So, just another one question with the so one that bottoms out, so and that's full hard. So it's well, if you wind it right in, and then
Yeah.
it's at maximum stiffness,
Yeah.
whether it rebound or can you damage them?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, if you wind them too hard. You would normally not run them hard.
Yeah, I know, but like when you're winding into 0, that point,
No, you wouldn't damage them from going into 0 as long as you don't crank them in too hard.
You mean actually running them on
Yeah,
the
but
track?
No. Well, I mean,
When you're
I've
adjusting
seen
them
people,
Driving
you
with
wind
an
them in,
seat.
1 clip, 2 clip,
and get to 0.
and get, is that 0 or is that,
Yeah, no, normally you'd go as far as it'll go, nicely, and then you'd bring it back to the first click and you'd call that 0. Yeah.
Okay.
What you don't do, Tom, is get in there with a screwdriver and give it one more just for luck and snap off the adjustment.
We won't ask how you know that.
Don't fiddle, Derek. Don't fiddle. I think there's a lesson in that, isn't there? Jesus.
I'll just go halfway and see what that's another 3. That's another 3 on. Yeah, it is.
So what have you got to set at the moment, John?
So that's 3 on from 0. We went back to 0, which was the black line.
I mean, the practical upshot is that the first 3 clicks does absolutely nothing.
Well, maybe the
And you
first,
could take
maybe
that to the track and say there's no point fiddling on that bottom end, is there?
that's right.
But you won't know until you run it on the dyno.
No, yeah,
But need to go to 4 clips.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
0 to 4.
Well, that's why.
is
That's
a
why
difference
I'm now 3.
On that one.
on that shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now 3 clicks off
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Let's just see what that's going to be.
You can imagine going up 1, ooh, and
Ooh.
cars faster, 2 and 3.
And bollocks.
Yeah, it's just all nothing.
Well, it's not bollocks, it's just our mindset. If we change it, it must be better.
It's quite exciting, isn't it? It's actual.
Does it work?
Have you actually watched that? Are you owning up in a room of blokes that you're watching The Bachelor?
Now that's quite interesting, eh?
There you
Because
go.
now
that,
we've got one in the middle.
That worries me now, unfortunately. This shot's a throwaway.
May well be.
I used to go to Coney twice.
Interesting that, though, the shapes almost come back.
Yeah.
So you had 4 shocks, you just set them up all 3s and just try them out, see what they'll work out.
And we can lay them over.
And then one needs to be different, it goes 4, so they're all the same.
Yeah.
Not
And then
cold.
I can unclick. If I unclick that one there, and that one there, That's the first two. That's the one I did before you got here, and the one I did when you were here. And then, so that one there is
Base.
full soft. That one's 3. That one's full. That's hard. That one's 3 back from hard.
So where would you, if
Where it goes at 6 and 7, I'm not sure. Or where it goes at 4, 5. I don't know.
so if you had 4 shocks in here, which one would you sit it at? The bottom one or halfway or whatever?
No, I'd sit it in the middle and say go and play with it.
And knowing, knowing that you got up and down, but you'd also print this out and say, look, this is what it looks like. Here you go. If you go one click up from a 4 to a 5, you're going to make a significant difference. Go from a 4 to a 3 or to a 2, you're going to make a lot less difference.
The biggest issue is that if this shock is the same graph looking as the next shock, but it may be that this line is let's say it's a 3 on that shock, it could be a 5 on the other shock. So what we do is we produce a table that says that shock number 1, the left front, a 3 on the left front, it has to be a 5 on the right front. And that doesn't necessarily stay linear as it goes up the thing. So we just make a little table up so that you can see that. And we can just lay it over the top. You can do, I won't do it now because it's quite hard to adjust these, but what we can do, and we do this, once we've done the testing, is we can do what's called a live run. So you set the dyno going, and then you just stroke one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and it starts laying all these graphs on top of each other. So you can see that it should just build like this, and you'll end up with a big solid green line or a big solid blue line or whatever. And if it builds and it's sort of linear as it goes up, as you keep going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you know the shock's actually working, and then you can go back down again and it'll change colour. So it'll go back down, so you know that the shock's actually adjusting properly and coming back. Then you put the next one up, and then you can print them out in a very, I mean you can